Welcome back to the Superheroes Everyday Podcast. I'm Danny Horn. I'm here with Trevor Bolliger. Trevor, hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back. This is Act 2 of the 2005 Spelunking Spectacular, Batman Begins. The story so far, billionaire superbrat Bruce Wayne fell down a hole when he was a child, and in many ways, he is still down there. He got his parents killed by making them leave the opera before intermission, which is punishable by death in this town. 15 years later, Bruce drops out of college, gets real upset about crime and corruption, decides to sail away and become a criminal for a while, and then go to Ninja Hogwarts for 7 years. He is now in his early 30s. He doesn't have a single item on his resume, so he's going to be what you might call hard to place. But we will see what happens to him in Act 2 of Batman Begins. We begin in a courtroom with Dr. Crane, as played by Cheekbones Oppenheimer, aka Cillian Murphy, who is a super creepy Draco Malfoy type psychiatrist who is obviously dripping with evil from the first moment we meet him. Well, he is approached by Rachel, who by now is an assistant DA. And she just goes up to Draco in the hallway and she accuses him of speaking in Parseltongue. This is not particularly effective. It doesn't even fog up his smug little womany Italian glasses. And then Rachel, I guess her boss, probably the DA, possibly they're dating.
Well, they're definitely dating, which is problematic in its own right.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
go
sure what
on.
they're doing here. He wants her to back off because he's worried about her, but I didn't get too involved in this relationship.
No, I mean, he says, as much as I care about getting Falcone, I care more about you. But he delivers it with absolutely zero heart or soul or anything. And let's be clear, this movie came out in 2005, and we know that 2005 Katie Holmes was exciting enough to jump up and down on a couch about.
That is true. And here's this guy, and he can hardly work up the energy. Now, Bruce Wayne is at home. He is just starting to organize his huge conspiracy theory string wall, and he hears a bat fluttering around inside the house. Alfred acts like that's a regular occurrence, which I would imagine that is a thing that Bruce would already know and be completely freaked out about.
Yeah, I mean, they all know that like Bruce was traumatized by bats as a child, and so it's already been established there. I think my question is more of what has Alfred been up to all these years? He's not debatting the house. He's probably got some more interesting hobbies.
Well, yeah, he says they nest somewhere in the grounds, which is exactly where they are.
Yeah,
A very
down that
memorable
shitty old
event
well. Yeah,
happened right there. But Bruce, for some reason, this inspires him. He goes down the well again. He rappels down into the underworld. He goes down into a cave, which does not seem like it can be easily turned into a huge modern workshop. Is this a set? This is actually, I find, so one thing I got to give him credit for. I find this area completely believable. I believe in this
yeah,
cave.
yeah. So I mean, this was, I think, one of the kind of the best parts about this movie, and really this whole trilogy of Batman movies, is the commitment to practical effects,
Mm.
because this is 2005, and so you could have used CG for it, and they probably did use some degree of set extensions and matte paintings, but they, rather than lean into the kind of bad looking graphics at the time,
Hmm.
it was all practical. And so the whole movie actually feels kind of more of a 90s movie,
Mm.
like the last gasp of superhero movies before everything just became a CGI,
Right.
green screen nightmare.
So does that mean this was filmed in a cave, or was this filmed?
I bet it was filmed on a giant soundstage that they built, like a giant set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Bruce has a little light he lifts up, and then suddenly all the bats all swarm, and there's still a squintillion of them. There's only one number of bats that you can have in any movie, and that is too many bats. They kind of flap around. So, boardroom intrigue. Here's William Earl, trader and corporate stiff. He doesn't care what Howard Stark would have wanted. He wants to sell weapons to children and invest the company's money in Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. He's just bad. He wants to do bad stuff. And Bruce just kind of walks in and impresses everybody by being alive.
I mean, I show up to work every day and nobody compliments that I'm still alive. So maybe I need to fake my death for
You
seven
need some
years.
time off, yeah. Rachel finds out that Bruce is still alive. This is the thing that actually specifically bothers me. She finds out that Bruce is still alive and she doesn't do anything. Because she's the one, as I said before, she is the one who killed him. in her own mind. She dropped him off in the worst possible part of town, made him feel bad, made him apparently kill himself,
Left him with a gun. Yeah.
left him with a gun by the docks. So, and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't go and she doesn't try and find him.
You know why?
Why?
Fear. Shit. Shit. Where's Liam Neeson when you need him? I'm sure he'd have 400 platitudes to say about that.
Touche. Touche. So Earl tells Bruce the company's going public because it's a big machine and wheels are already turning. And Bruce seems to care. This is part of the plot now, is that Earl is a bad guy and he's going to do bad things with the business. And they act like it's like Tony Stark getting captured by terrorists, where it's completely out of his control. And like Obadiah Stane is really mean for trying to take the company away. But Bruce went away on purpose. He went to play with ninjas for 7 years. He ran off to live like a criminal. And so I'm not sure that really sets up Earl the way that they think it does.
No, I mean Earl is still obnoxious, but then it's Bruce Wayne born into luxury, doesn't understand like how the real world
How things
works.
work.
So,
Yeah.
of course,
He just figures
this is mine. It's got
Yeah.
my name on it.
Yeah, it's still gonna be there when I get back. Bruce acts like he's okay with it. Really, what he wants to do is go play around in R&D, which somehow he knows has been making magical things. So here's where Bruce meets Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman at his twinkliest.
So goddamn twinkly.
I'm gonna try and only say this once, but it is in my head all the time. Every time I think about him, I think of him as Luscious Fox. I could, if I chose to, spend the entire rest of this podcast just calling him Luscious Fox. I'm not going to, because I care about you as a person, but just know that I am thinking that every single fucking time.
Oh, well, now I didn't know that I could like his character even more, but now I do.
I do. Well, he is, if you'll pardon the expression, Lucius Fox is the magical Negro who is always available in movies to help the white boys who need things.
Yeah, quite convenient that literally every bat gadget that he needs has already been built.
Invented. Yep. He basically just opens a box marked Batman stuff, and he just like is pulling stuff out. And he's like, "Oh, here we are. It's like a Kevlar utility harness, gas-powered magnetic grapple gun, the 350-pound test monofilament." It is unclear what they thought they were doing when they made these. The basic impression that I get is they invented Batman years ago and decided not to do anything with it. So it's like all this Warner Brothers IP, like sitting around in the warehouse, like the Ark of the Covenant at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
And he just opens a drawer and there's the Batman suit. He says it's Kevlar biweave with reinforced joints. I have a question, actually. Is there such a thing as Kevlar? Is that a real thing in the world?
So right after this movie, I went off to college and I got a job at a place called Soccer Pro, and they sold soccer cleats and jerseys, and one of the things that soccer players wear are shin guards, because when you get kicked in the shins, it is not fun.
Yes, true.
And they had like the most expensive shin guard. It was like $300, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was made out of Kevlar, and like all the marketing was like you could shoot these shin guards and you wouldn't get hurt. And one of my biggest regrets in life is that I didn't actually test that. I think that's they were begging for.
I'd test it on somebody else though.
Yeah.
They say the word Kevlar like it means magical armor.
It might as well be like a Tolkien word out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly. Bruce says he wants to borrow all this stuff for spelunking. And like, have you seen American Psycho?
Yes, and I have questions about American Psycho later, but
okay.
You were asking?
It is so hard for me when I see Christian Bale dressed up in a suit and lying to people. It is so hard for me not to just see Patrick Bateman. Like he's clearly a serial killer.
Well, so that was my question. I was going to save it for the end, for Act 3.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. Like, who's a bigger psychopath? Is it, Patrick Bateman, or is it Bruce Wayne?
Is it Bruce Wayne? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Bateman has a lower number of kills, I believe. He does not cause the kind of like mayhem and destruction that Bruce Wayne causes.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Wayne just
by being
destroyed
alive.
a whole dojo.
Everything around him is destroyed. He destroys a whole neighborhood by the end of this movie.
The whole public transit
and the
system
whole
too.
Transportation system. You're right.
All right.
Easy question. Patrick Bateman's nothing. Yeah, he's totally fine. Alfred is with Bruce in the Batcave. So here's where you do the thing. We are in this enormous waterway cave that somehow already connects to the inside of Bruce's house. So he's going to install a secret driveway somehow. So in Batman Forever and in Batman and Robin, the Batcave is just like you just put platforms in a dark space, and that's the Batcave. It's basically just like a huge basement. So you either believe it or you don't believe it, but you don't think about it too much. I believe it's actually a little more difficult in this movie, like because they're trying to be more realistic and they're trying to show us what looks like a huge actual cave space. That actually, like for me, it sets me back a step, and I'm like, well, there's no way that they could turn this into a workshop. It's a cave. There's a river.
Yeah, and there's like the foundation of the building is like deep inside the cave. I was like, that's not how they build mountains. They don't build arches in a cave so that that's not how
Yeah,
it works. And then the whole like tunnels, they also kind of explain it in just the most white savior way possible.
this is the other thing I do not believe. Your great great grandfather was involved in the Underground Railroad, secretly transporting freed slaves to the North. And I'm like, aren't we in the North right now? Isn't this the North?
Yeah,
I thought this was Delaware.
yeah. And Underground Railroad was not literally
Literally
underground.
underground. I know. So what I get out of this is that Thomas Wayne of the 1800s was basically just rounding up freed slaves and just stashing them in caverns. But this is the Batcave, and now they're making a bat suit. There's some baffling material about dummy corporations. They're gonna buy the bat cowl face from Singapore. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be when it's not a bat cowl, but they're gonna buy it via a dummy corporation. Now, I feel like this whole movie is made by a dummy corporation.
Yeah, it's called Warner Brothers.
I get being like a little bit stealthy about what they're doing, but it's not like anyone would guess what this is. And for the little points, they're gonna buy 10,000 of them. And I'm not sure why buying 10,000 of them is more stealthy than buying some
Yeah,
weird rich person thing.
rich people and their money. Yeah.
I don't understand what they think they're doing. Gordon goes to his dark office in some dark police station where they don't pay electric bills. And Bruce is there in the shadows. And there's a funny moment. There's like the sound of a switch flipping that makes it like marginally more dark. But if they didn't make the switch sound, you really wouldn't notice because it was already really, really dark. He is there because he wants to talk about Falcone. Gordon confirms that Falcone is paying people, which we already knew. And Bruce is saying, like, what would it take to nail him? And like, what do we need? And Gordon wants to know who he is. And Batman says, watch for my sign. You're just one man? Now we're two. He says, we, which means yes. And now they're friends.
Oh, so it's not Delaware, it's closer to Canada.
Yeah, it is. We're way north. Those slaves were lost. They were really lost. Someone should have told them.
My favorite part about that scene is that they've already established that he's wearing $300,000 body armor. Too expensive for the military. But he's got like a 99-cent ski mask over his
Yeah,
head.
that's right. Yeah, well, they haven't gotten like the shipment of like 10,000 face
Um,
masks yet.
or shown that the first shipment is broken or something or
I
defective.
didn't I didn't get that
It's
part. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So there's the scene that happens here is actually something I really do like this because this is where like Bruce is now running away and Gordon decides that he's gonna like chase him and shoot him. I'm not sure why. He's got a gun. And Bruce like jumps off the roof, but he's not good at being Batman yet. And so the thing happens, which should happen every single time in every Batman story, which is just that he like falls and bangs into stuff and goes like, ow, and then like barely survives the experience. That should be happening every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's grounded. It's a realistic movie.
I have to say that made me happy. Goes back to Lucius Fox with more lame excuses. He wants lightweight fabrics. And Lucius just like kind of turns and grabs whatever box is right next to him and opens it up, and there's more magic
More
stuff
Batman
inside.
stuff.
Yeah, more Batman stuff. So this is like memory cloth, which is like regular cloth until you electrocute it and then it becomes rigid. I don't understand anything I just said.
No, but don't worry. They very cleverly he says like two sentences and then they introduce the tumbler and
Yeah.
everybody's memory like is completely wiped because the tumbler is
The
very
Tumblr
cool.
is great. The Tumblr is great. And so Bruce sees that there is an awesome car that's called the Tumbler. He starts driving around in it. He really, really likes it. There is some explanation for its military significance, which I have watched several times and cannot understand. Something about building a bridge.
Something about bridges.
I don't know what it is. But the point is, Fox invented the Batmobile, and now Bruce wants to paint it black like he does everything else.
So I know, Danny, you've watched quite a few Batman movies, and therefore you've seen quite a few Batmobiles.
Yes.
Where does this rank for you personally among all the Batmobiles?
There's a thing I don't like about this Batmobile at all, which is when you lean forward and engage the weapon system, and then you drive like forward some, and then you lean back again, and it's totally, there's no difference. I don't understand that. I like the Batman and Robin Batmobile, where Commissioner Gordon goes boop 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 and like appears on a little screen and tells you who you're going to fight like it's a video game. And it's got like huge wings.
I mean, I think that this movie is a video game. Like he just like levels up, he learns the skill, he's got a new skill, he gets more gear from Luscious.
It's really hard to resist that, isn't it? The drug smuggling. People are at the docks. It is night. They are smuggling drugs inside soft toys. It is bad guys loading bad boxes. And then people just kind of like start to disappear. And something grabs them like a ghost and they just vanish from the world. And there's a batarang thrown around. He's not using the explosive powder for some reason. I was kind of hoping for some explosive powder.
No, burned it all up.
Any of that. And so this is just a sequence where like he is the shadows and he's just flying around in the bat suit, scaring people with guns and grabbing them and stuff. And everyone just gets super scared, just like he wants them to. They start shooting machine guns off, and that doesn't work because he's had stage fighting class in Tibet. And then everybody starts hitting each other, and then Batman's hitting people, and there's punch. Falcone wants to get away. Driver's unconscious. Everybody's unconscious. And now Falcone is experiencing fear. And he says, "Who are you?" Batman says, "I'm Batman."
There it is. Roll the credits. Batman has begun. I know one of your running commentaries on superhero movies is that they never actually stop crime. And so
that is a real good point. Oh my god, this is the first one. This is the first movie that I've seen where there's actual crime fighting.
It's not like a violent crime. I mean, like they're distributing narcotics.
It's pretty violent. They're shooting guns off and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's violence towards Batman, but it's not like stopping something in the streets of Gotham. But it's he makes a difference. He catches the bad guy.
You know what? I think it's Batman Begins and it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Those are the two. With my street level crime fighters, I do like it. Rachel's gonna get killed. She's alone on the subway, like totally and completely alone, except for the one guy who's paid to kill her. I don't know how the bad guys managed to like completely empty out the entire transportation system, but it is a big dark place and it is just her and just the two guys who try to grab her. But Batman is there. Da-da-da. Scares him away. She tries to taser Batman. It doesn't work. And he tells her that Falcone sent him to kill her, so maybe go easy on the late night public transportation for a while.
We know she has a car.
She has a car. Yeah. And maybe do like a hybrid work thing where you get to go home before 1 a.m.
Yeah.
This is not a good idea. Then there's a big police presence, and Gordon comes in, and all of the bad guys are like sitting down, all tied up. This is my understanding of what I'm looking at, is that they're all like sat in little rows and they're all tied up and they're just on the ground and they're feeling sorry for themselves and they've just given up completely. And all the police are coming and arresting them.
I think I might have thought this was a Spider-Man movie, because if it were Spider-Man, they'd all be like webbed together, you know?
Yeah, with a little note. And Gordon is there and he says, well, we'll never tie Falcone to this. But then the big reveal, Falcone is chained on a spotlight, which I don't know how Batman accomplished all of this by himself. But the spotlight is pointed at the sky. Falcone is spread-eagled across it. And it looks like the bat signal, which is cute. Gordon looks at this, and this is the secret origin of the bat signal.
I mean, Bruce very clearly learned this in in the mountains when he was during his stage fighting, because you can't have a stage fight without proper lighting.
That is true. That's a very good point. How do you one-handed chain people up though? This is my question. But my main concern about this sequence is that what just happened is that all of these people now are victims of this preposterous Bat Brayton psychopath who knocked everyone unconscious and tied them up and fucking chained them to things and didn't read them their rights. Like, you're not going to make any of these charges stick. These people they're witnesses for the prosecution at this point. Like, you have now moved them from criminal to victim. Police want to get Batman off the street. Rachel's talking to her boss. She's still talking about evidence for some reason. And she says, Falcone was at the scene. We got fingerprints and cargo manifests. So that's good. So that's the junior detectives. They're pretending they're still like functioning law enforcement somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred wakes Bruce up. This is the shirtless scene.
Yeah, I was going to ask. There's only two things that matter. And take it away.
How hot are the people? How much money did they make, and how hot are the people? And so here's the scene where they actually show off that Christian Bale's done a lot of work, and it's very nice. And if it wasn't fucking Christian Bale, I might have some emotional investment in this scene. Unfortunately, he's fucking creepy Patrick Bateman to me. And so, yeah, it's not like a Jason Momoa kind of Henry Cavill effect for me, unfortunately. But I appreciate all the work that he went to. He went to a great deal of trouble, and I am appreciative.
I mean, yeah, a great deal of trouble is an understatement, because this is the guy that. So in 2004, The Machinist came out, where I think he like lost like 50% of his body weight. He like emaciated, just skeleton.
Is he one of those? He's one of those guys.
Yeah, and then so he gained all of this muscle mass for Batman, and then he lost a whole bunch for The Prestige, and then he gained back a whole bunch more for The Dark Knight. And then wasn't he like Dick Cheney? Didn't he like gain like 150 pounds for the role of Dick Cheney? So this guy just
he's got to try acting. Yeah. well done, Christian Bale, and your weird body modification.
Well, I'm talking about weird things that Christian Bale does for his roles. While he's doing the press for a movie, if he is an American character in the movie, he does all of the press in an American accent, so he doesn't confuse the audience.
Is that true?
That's true.
That is a fascinating fact about Christian Bale.
So if you go back and you watch any of the press that he's done about any of the Batman movies,
funny.
Apparently he does it all with an American accent. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's actually really funny. That's kind of cool. But it means that there is no true Christian Bale.
He got sucked into the Hollywood machine when he's a wee child, and he's still in it. But
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah,
good for him.
Now the microwave emitter enters the picture. This is a magical weapon which can cook stuff at a distance. It is very dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands. I'm not even sure who the right hands would be in this situation. This is just a terrible thing to make, and the Wayne Company went and made it.
Yeah, it's a war crime to vaporize an enemy's water supply.
Yeah, it's just a war crime, and it's traveling by cargo ship somewhere. I am not sure where it was coming from and where it thought it was going to. Mm-hmm. I thought we had cargo manifests in this movie.
My favorite part is that it's like one nameless executive delivering it to the other guy. And I have named him the CEO, the Chief Exposition Officer, to move the story along.
Yeah, he says, oh yeah, we had this thing. And then some bad hats came along. They killed everybody on board. They stole the microwave emitter, and then they sailed away singing jolly pirate songs. And there's nothing we can do about it. So Falcone's been faking an emotional breakdown in prison so that he can talk to the evil Dr. Crane. Oppenheimer's back. But it turns out Crane is an absolute crazy person who puts on a scarecrow mask, and he's got some kind of fear gas that you can spray in the air, and bang, all of a sudden the person you're talking to starts screaming like he's in a hurricane. And this works. For whatever version of works you want to call this, it is very effective.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Wilkinson Tom Wilkinson is doing a lot in this movie, and this is the most a lot that he does. He just completely screams like a banshee.
Yeah, suddenly being crazy. And Crane leaves the room, and Falcone is just screaming at the top of his lungs over and over. And apparently everyone is just okay with this kind of behavior from Crane. Like he goes into a room with somebody,
Hmm.
and Falcone is demonstrably like he's not just worse, but he's a whole kind of worse that nobody's ever seen before. And that apparently is an effective way for Dr. Crane to operate. And nighttime again, no surprise, Batman goes to visit his little friend Jimmy. And Christian Bale is doing his little Batman voice. This is where I really started to notice like the Batman voice. Your partner was at the docks with Falcone. What do you think? What do you think about the Batman voice?
There's a big reveal later where Rachel realizes that, oh, Batman is actually Bruce, and it's like, no, of course. Like it sounds just like him, but just
Yeah,
like a little bit scruffier.
but he's doing a voice.
Um, it gets better in the following movies, but yeah, it's there's a reason why there's a meme about it because it is silly.
But they have a nice little moment. Gordon says there's a task force, and the commissioner thinks you're dangerous, and Batman says, "What do you think?" And Gordon says, "I think you're trying to help." And then he looks away for 1 second, and he turns back, and Batman's gone because he's a ninja
He is a ninja. Check those rafters.
with a little burst of explosive powder. It hurts me. It hurts me that they don't use the explosive powder. I'm gonna keep doing it through the whole entire movie, but they don't come back to it. It is pouring rain. Now this is the scene. I got to give it.
Yeah.
I got to give him this scene, 100%. That there's bad cop Flass who is like kicking orphans or he's doing something. He's mean every second that he's alive. He has to be doing something mean, and then like Batman swings him up on a line and he's hanging upside down from the top of a building and he's saying, "Where were the other drugs going? I don't know. I swear to God, swear to me." And so this is like, if you are a person who really wanted to see the dark Batman, the grown-up Batman, this is what you want. Like, this is exactly what people want to see. No clowns, no circus music. You want a guy on a string at night in the rain with Batman threatening to murder him unless he squeals about a drug deal. This is what we want Batman to do.
It's as gritty as you can get. But it's funny, that's the one animated GIF that still is used today is from this scene where Batman's in the rain, just kind of shaking with his angry face on.
This isn't the thing that I love. I wasn't looking for like necessarily like the dark grown-up Batman, but I totally have empathy with the people who do. And I get why people were willing to put up with the ninja bullshit in the first act. If like here we are halfway through the movie, Batman is acting like Batman, like the guy that we wanted to see.
Yeah, it's a great crime thriller movie. It's not a fun, nobody's having fun.
Yeah.
And so if you come to this like wanting to like chew on some popcorn and just like have a jolly old time,
Yeah.
this is not going to be it. But like, the story's good, the character development, like it all tracks. It's a well-made movie, but
I don't know if I'd go that far, but this scene at least I'm down with. Batman's climbing up a wall in the rain. This is the Narrows. This is the bad part of town. And there's a little boy out on the fire escape. And my question for you is this a little boy from Game of Thrones?
This is the little boy from Game of Thrones. This is the actor who played Joffrey Baratheon.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Who is like the biggest piece of shit TV character of all time ever. Just like you see him, you hear the name Joffrey, you're like, I hate him, and you're
hate
just, everybody's blood boils.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny that's like Batman like forms this bond with this young child.
Yeah.
And so like watching it now, you're like, no, that's that shithead little
right, yeah.
cruel king.
And this poor kid, he's so funny that like he's out on the balcony or out on the fire escape, and like his parents are yelling at each other in the kitchen. And he sees Batman climb, and they have a little moment. And Batman throws him some merch, which is cool. The kid's really psyched. Like, this is Batman. He's connecting with the young set through the power of licensed merchandise. So Batman arrives at an apartment and he breaks in. I don't know how he knows that this is the apartment. And literally 8 seconds after he walks in, Crane walks in with thugs and a can of gasoline and tells the thugs to torch the entire building. It is amazing timing on Batman's part.
I mean, that's why they call him the Great Detective.
Crane tells the thugs, torch the entire building, people living in it and everything. And Batman is there in the shadows, and the bad guys start spreading gas around, and he starts taking him out. But before he can do anything, suddenly Crane has turned into the Scarecrow. He's got the mask on and a little aerosol can of fear gas. And that takes effect instantaneously. That takes effect before you even breathe it. And now Batman's all drugged up. Scarecrow says he has a little one-liner. He says, "You take things too seriously. You need to lighten up." And he throws a cigarette lighter at Batman. He doesn't do a lot of like little snappy quips like that.
But he's not wrong. Like he's the most correct person right now. He does need to lighten up.
And so he throws a cigarette lighter at him, and Batman just bursts into flame all at once. Now, one thing that Scarecrow has not really thought about, I believe, is how he's going to get out of this room, because they've been spreading gas all over the place. He's still standing there like a dope. It doesn't matter. What matters is Batman gets hurled out the window entirely on fire. He falls and he drops on the top of a car, and then he's rolling around in a puddle trying to get the fire out, and he has a very hard time. And that sucked for him. And that's another thing I think is funny, and I think it's they've done well. That again, like this was his first time meeting a supervillain, and it hardly could have gone worse.
Yeah, no,
It's like the worst way. That was the worst experience for him. And so Bruce has to call his dad to come pick him up. But he is in bed. Everything is fine. He was out for 2 days, and today is his birthday,
oh, happy birthday.
which is very cute. Rachel comes by with a present for Bruce's birthday. It is his birthday. They're having a party, which is insane. This is a plot thing that I don't understand that well. He was unconscious for 2 days, and they didn't cancel the party. That is the life of a playboy, I guess. The party just goes on,
Yeah.
whether you're there or not. Rachel's not coming because her boss has been missing for days, and he's probably dead. And also, that might have been her boyfriend. And she seems really okay with it.
Yeah, she's got a dark streak.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think she mentions that ever again. If they were to, and she doesn't say his name.
Well, he doesn't have one, but yeah, she doesn't feel regret that Bruce disappeared for 7 years. Doesn't have regret about her boss, husband, boyfriend, partner, man.
She gets a phone call from Plot Point Central. Tells her Crane moved Falcone to Arkham Asylum on suicide watch. She is very upset about this, and he says, "Well, Rachel, you can't go to Arkham. It's in the Narrows." And it's like, she knows where it is, and you haven't talked to me in like 7 years, so don't tell me where to go.
Yeah, but the audience doesn't know that the Narrows is right by Arkham. Somebody had to say it.
But Bruce, he gets ready to protect Rachel. He knows that we're getting close to the end of Act 2, and all the important characters are gathering, so he has to go there too. He opens a secret panel in the library, which goes to an elevator, which hustles him down to the Batcave. There's a lot of like very like forward driving music, and this is more Batman doing Batman stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, like, this is for whatever jokes I made about this film, Nolan gets this like 100% right. He is taking the goofy 1966 Batman, like going down a pole from the secret panel down to the Batcave, and he's just doing that in a way that says, no, you can actually this ridiculous, idiotic idea, you can actually do this in a way that doesn't look ridiculous and idiotic, where it actually like looks kind of real and kind of fun, and we can take it seriously.
That he does.
He has made his point. We are never going to have jokey comics Batman ever again.
I hope we do. I hope that's where James Gunn takes him. I have two hopes for the new DC movies. Is one is Batman can actually like have fun.
Yeah.
And two is that we never need to see Murder Alley ever again.
You're done with Origins.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're all kind of done with Origins. I don't want to see another Origin. Oh God, now that you say that, I don't want to see a Wonder Woman origin. Yeah, let's just have some superheroes.
Yeah. All right. I'll write a letter to Gunn tonight.
Yeah, just send him a tweet. He gets a lot of advice on Twitter. Well, Rachel's at the asylum. She made it all by herself. She got all the way to the Narrows. She wants to talk to Crane about Falcone's condition. She's asking him questions. She's furrowing her brow. She's acting very salty. He's trying to be a serious doctor, man. She wants her own psychiatric evaluator to come and do blood work on him. And Crane says, okay, first thing tomorrow. And she says, tonight, like she's in charge of the world. And she's already told a doctor to come. So now she is a real problem for Crane. So he takes her down into the dungeon. He says, there is something I think you should see. And you never get into an elevator with this man.
No, never.
And this is the facility. If you want, like, the dojo was a facility, and even more than that, what's happening in the basement of Arkham Asylum is the ultimate facility.
Yeah, it's a converted facility, but it's still a facility. There's
a multi-level sweatshop somehow in the basement where you can stand on a balcony. There's like a basement and then there's more of a basement. You stand on a balcony and you look down at the little proles making things. Everyone's very unhappy. The lighting is all green, like it always is in spooky facilities,
Mm.
and everything is extra grimy.
Hmm.
They're supposed to be working with chemicals, but apparently a sterile environment is not important, in this
No, they're just pouring that
for
right
this
into the water. It
project.
doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So these little trolls making medicine, and then they're pouring it into the water supply, which is represented by one pipe with rushing water going through it, and then a big hole. So you can just pour stuff in. It is hard to say exactly what they think they're doing, but Rachel has enough smarts to know this kind of shit is not okay. She knows a facility when she sees one. She doesn't hang around trying to give orders or anything. She just runs for the elevator, which naturally does not work.
No.
And Crane turns into the scarecrow and hits her with the fear gas.
Yeah. Pocket sand right to the face.
And now Rachel's just she's out of the picture for the foreseeable.
Yeah.
It takes a very long time for her to recover. Batman shows up. He's whistling around in the rafters. Crane has this like enormous army of mercenaries. You can, if you're a bad guy in superhero movies, you just have access to all bad guy material.
My biggest problem is that he just so desperately wants to get caught. He brings the DA down to his lair, down to his
Yeah,
facility, and then he literally calls the police to his facility where he's doing his big crime.
yeah, that is mysterious.
Some hubris in there, but a lot of idiocy.
Batman tries to grab Crane and gives him fear gas, which appears to work on him, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense because you'd think that he would either have an immunity or some kind of gas something. Because how has he been spraying it on people all this time?
Oh, they showed it a little bit when he puts on his mask for the very first time. His like the scarecrow mask has
Oh,
some
it's
kind
in the
of breathing
mask.
apparatus inside. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, it's kind of underwhelming that he was defeated so quickly with his own.
With his own gas. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were building him up and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's still in the movie like for a little while, but like, yeah, but never he's not the villain anymore.
No, no, he's just very quickly defeated.
Yeah. And so Batman asks who he's working for, and he says Ra's al Ghul. And
There it
Batman
is.
is shocked by that. So now apparently that part of the plot is not over yet. So all of the police and SWAT and everybody in the world is all like lining up around the asylum. They're all looking for the bat. Everybody's upset. Gordon goes in with a handgun because he's not afraid. He knows that his friend Batman's in there. And Batman sweeps him up, and it's very cute. He tells Gordon all about Rachel, who he is basically carrying under his arm. He's just got her now. And he says they got to get away. So he tells Gordon to meet him downstairs because I need to get this girl the antidote. She's for about the next 10 minutes, she's basically the package. Like she's just the thing that you carry around that makes the plot important. He has pressed a button on his shoe, Trevor. And that makes a sound. And he says it's a backup. And after a while, Gordon hears the beating of wings. And he says, "What's that?" And it's a backup. And here is the squintillion bats.
It's a squintillion and a half. It's so many bats.
They are swarming from all over the world. There are Mexican bats from south of the border. They are wearing big hats. They are strumming on guitars. There are French bats carrying baguettes and saying "ooh la la." New York, London, Paris, Munich, all the bats from everywhere, all over the world. And they're not doing anything particular when they get there. They just kind of like fuck around all over the place. They're just like bursting through windows and swarming everybody. And it is unbelievably effective. Why did we not think of this as a solution to almost any problem? When this would really be effective is Black Friday specials.
Oh God!
If you want to get into the store, you summon all of your squintillion of bats to just like swarm everybody else. That's just one idea. I'm sure there are other places where that might be effective.
I think literally anywhere for crowd control.
You just call them the bats. They're great. So in all the confusion, Gordon gets Rachel out. Batman just falls down out of the building. All of this mess is designed to get Batman and Rachel into the Batmobile. And this goes on for a very long time. He drives. And the police are upset. And they say it's a tank. And he just
drives. It is a tank.
He just drives through town. He's knocking stuff over. He's driving over things. And Katie Holmes is just hyperventilating in the passenger seat.
Fun movie fact. We never actually see the fear toxin's effect from her point of view.
That is true.
because Christopher Nolan is incapable of understanding women. No, we
That's amazing.
see everybody else that's sprayed with the toxin, we see from their perspective. So we
Yep.
see, even Scarecrow, we see
Yeah.
terrifying Batman from Scarecrow's perspective, but never
Nope.
Katie Holmes.
Nope. We only see her from the outside as
Mhm.
she struggles to breathe. This sequence takes a full 8 minutes, and it makes me want to murder myself. But but this is another one where I gotta just give it to Christopher Nolan, where it's like the Batman doing Batman scene. Like this is the Batmobile doing Batmobile scene. So it's like
Mhm.
kind of growling and driving over people and leaping across gaps and flying over rooftops.
I mean, the Tumblr is super cool.
Yeah.
The scene itself does very little. Like, he goes on the rooftops, but then like the police are always right on his tail, so he gains no advantage except for when he like slams on the brake and goes into the dark.
Yeah. And goes
So
invisible for a second.
yeah, I mean, I think from a like storytelling perspective, it builds up that adrenaline
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of been like building for the past few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of plot, not much actually happens.
Yeah.
It's just kind of filler, but it's you know
But this
this
is
is a
but
good time
this
to
is
go to
the
the bathroom.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, I gotta get this. Like this is the for the people who have been waiting to see an exciting kind of more dark Batman. This is your dark Batmobile scene, and I'm sure people really loved it.
I think the better one comes up in the third act, but yeah, this is it's a good appetizer.
I don't understand the part where he leans forward and drives lying down for a while, and then he just gets back up, and then he doesn't do that anymore. That makes no sense to me. I don't know what they're trying to do there.
Forgive me if I sound like a broken record, but they totally fix it in the next movie. There's a motorcycle that is birthed from the Batmobile. So you hold on to the little handles, you
And
go down into the little position,
yeah,
and then you eject forward from the front of the car, and you're on the Bat motorcycle.
but are you driving the Bat motorcycle lying down?
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's the way that you drive things from a horizontal position, but I don't know. I don't drive a motorcycle. There's a lot I don't know about motorcycles. So there he goes. He's smashing through gates. He's going under tunnels. Hold on, Katie Holmes. Hold on, hold on. And when we get there, it is just in time, and we give her the antidote, and she's okay. Ta-da! And
Hooray!
so we have seen Batman being Batman in the rain, on the roof, under pressure. We have seen the Batmobile crushing cop cars and leaping tall buildings. There is one thing we have not seen so far, and that is a villain worth giving a shit about. I've been watching this whole movie, and so far all I've seen is Oppenheimer with a bag over his head. So, will Ra's al Ghul actually amount to anything? We will find out in Act 3 of Batman Begins. Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I will see you back here for Act 3 of Batman Begins on the Superheroes Everyday podcast. Thanks for listening.